out of Atlanta, Georgia, a show that's bold, straightforward, and unapologetic. Get ready for Curve Uncensored, when life and reality intersect. Now, here's your host, Carolyn Hall.
Hello, everyone, and thank you for tuning in to Curve Uncensored. Welcome, welcome. I am your host, Carolyn, and I am so excited to be here this evening. Today is our first day back from Thanksgiving, and of course, I am trying to get it in gear. I have some awesome guests here today who have some great stories to tell you, and I'm really excited about today and this show, as I always am. However, today is it's like on a different level because it's the first series day we're talking about relationships. And I tell you, it's exciting because it's the holidays and everyone wants that special someone to spend time with. And well, not everyone, I would like to say most people, because some people are happy just, doing it by themselves solo. So, but it is the holiday nevertheless, and it is time for love and meeting the right person. However, it seems like some people go out and they get lucky all the time, and some people just never have that option, or it's very difficult for them. So I have some ladies here today that are going to share some awesome stories with us, and they're going to tell us a little bit about their journey and some of the things that they've done and they've encountered. And I'm just looking forward to having an awesome show. So let's go ahead and get into it. First, I would like to introduce Olivia. She's a comedian and she is a grandmother. And she has some really good information for us today. I also have Anna, and Anna is a lady that I'm so happy that I've met, and she's the CEO and founder of a very unique dating website, and she's going to give us all the information on that. I also have a special guest, Brenda, that will be joining us very soon. So without further ado, we're going to go ahead and get into it. Olivia.
Yes.
First of all, how was your Thanksgiving?
Oh, my Thanksgiving was wonderful. Spending it with those grandkids and family was awesome. Well, that's something I look forward to every year.
I know you, and I know you cooked a lot.
Yes. As usual.
As usual. Yes. Well, I'm so thankful that you're here today. And I want you to kind of tell us a little bit about your story. I kept it brief for a reason. Didn't want to take any of that away from you. I want you to be able to explain to us a little bit about Olivia, and then we'll get into the dynamics of the actual show.
Okay. Well, I was Olivia Kaysen, but I'm Olivia Kaysen Jones, married to a great man. I met him on my third round of chemotherapy in 2008, and we just became good friends over the internet, talked and laughed, and we actually didn't meet each other until 2010.
Okay.
Yes, and he came in after I was so low with chemo, and I was married at that time, and I was in the process of getting a divorce, and my husband basically tore me down.
Okay, now let me interrupt you really quickly. You said chemo, and why were you going through chemo?
Well, breast cancer, that was my first time.
Okay.
I'm a 3-time survivor.
Oh, gosh, congratulations.
Congratulations.
Thank you. Well, was being in a relationship, was married to my husband, and it took a toll on me. Didn't understand. He tore me down. He basically broke me.
Mm-hmm.
But I had to pray about it and pick myself up and get started all over again, knowing who you are, being the best that you are, and with your children's help. That was the best thing it was for me. And I basically got myself back together. I met a wonderful man,
Yes.
And oh my goodness, he turned my life upside down. He turned me into me again. I lost myself. I had to find my self-worth. I had to find me again. And it was a struggle, but I did it with the help of the Lord. I had a lot of praying going. And this young man, he was from Jacksonville, and he swept me off my feet. And I tell you, it's been a roller coaster ride up and down ever since.
I can believe that. I happen to know that guy. He's a sweetheart. He is very, and you all are a perfect match because he's a jokester too, you know.
Yes.
Now, I know. Well, you know what? We'll get into the dynamics later. I want to first of all introduce my other guest, Anna, because she can relate a lot to your story. So I want her to kind of explain, you know, what trips she's been on emotionally and how she pulled herself up.
Well, I was diagnosed with breast cancer when I was 36 years old, and I was married for 20 years. And then a couple of years ago, the marriage came to an end. And so it was something that kind of made me realize I wanted to do something to help other people. So that's when I created something that hopefully will be changing a lot of people's lives.
Right. And
so I went through chemotherapy and hysterectomy and multiple surgeries and everything. So it takes a big toll on your body, as Olivia, I'm sure you know.
Yes.
Right. Now, you at the time, could you give us a little bit of the dynamic of what you went through? Because at the time you were married as well, correct?
Yeah. So going back a little bit prior to my diagnosis, I had endometriosis.
Right.
So I always had painful intercourse and lack of libido. And then when I had breast cancer, things got even worse. So as far as sex drive and painful intercourse, and I developed a condition called vaginismus where intercourse ended up being impossible. So I'm sure, you know, it affects the marriage as well. And, you know, my ex-husband was very patient, but, you know, it's just, I felt like I needed to fix myself, and it felt like there was no hope, you know. So it was and I was wondering, you know, what am I going to do if I ever get divorced? Who's going to want to be with me if I can't have intercourse because it's too painful, you know? And so it was it definitely takes a toll on your body and your
relationships. Now, and like you stated, you actually developed that particular dating app to bring people together who had different issues when it comes to dating, and they just not just looking for the intercourse part of the relationship. They actually want just someone. Some people, I'm sure, just want someone they can talk to. Is that correct?
Yes, they could do that. And the reason I created, it's called Entwine. The reason I created it is because I realized that there was other people out there that had sexual limitations or sexual dysfunction caused by cancer. And I thought, you know, how do they find people to be with and that they would understand? And I realized there was a lot of my girlfriends that were going on dating apps and meeting men that have ED, erectile dysfunction, and they ended up getting rejected by them because they didn't want to be with somebody that had sexual dysfunction. And that's when I thought, you know, I got to do something to help bring these individuals together and just create a comfortable environment for them to be able to connect without being judged or embarrassed because they have these sexual limitations, because they still deserve to be loved. There's other forms of intimacy.
Right.
So,
Exactly.
yeah.
And then I noticed looking over your information, your bio, and, you know, all of the different reasons of why you created the site. Do you find having the site, you have more females or more males, or is it pretty balanced as to the members?
It's the app launched end of August of this year.
Okay.
So I would say there's majority of them are women.
Women.
Yeah, so I'm trying to reach as many men and women as possible. It seems like it's easier for me it seems like women rather talk about their sexual limitations, and men are kind of very, very private about it.
Yes, I can understand that.
I can, and also I feel that it seems like it's easier for men to meet someone just in general, because it seems like women a lot of times are more accepting to different things than men are. when it comes to things like that. What do you see?
I agree. I have what I notice is if I do meet new men, and I tell them about my issue, I kind of tell people right away that I just say my vagina's broken, and they look at me like I'm crazy.
Right. Well, yeah, when I saw you put it out there like that, I was like, huh? Yeah.
I know. Yeah.
Do you do that to kind of make it like lighthearted and a little more approachable?
I do, because I don't want people to feel sorry for me.
Right.
But I also don't want to be with a man that would not be okay with not having intercourse. And so instead of waiting 3 dates in or whatever, I would just say it right away. Like, oh, you want a number? You want to go out? Well, just let me just tell you something about an app I created. So I tell them about it, and then the comments I get are very insensitive. I have men say you have other holes, or you have the perfect reason why a guy wouldn't want to be with you, or I couldn't be with you. So it's just, it just confirms why I created this app.
Entwine, yeah.
If I was very sensitive and I didn't have an app like this, and a man said that to me, oh, you have other holes, or whatever he said,
right,
I would be heartbroken, and I'd be like, I wouldn't want to go out anywhere, because that was my choice after I got divorced. I was like, I'm just going to stay single because I don't want to have that rejection. I already been through enough with breast cancer,
right?
And dealing with insecurities with my scars and everything, and then now I have this issue too. So, they were. Some of them, like I said, are insensitive, but I'd rather a guy be completely honest, and say, hey, I need intercourse. But that's why I did this app, so that it takes the sexual expectations out of dating, and individuals like myself can go on there without having to feel fear they have to explain themselves. It's like right away they know cards are on the table. Intercourse may not be a possibility, and if that's an issue for you, don't go on the app, basically.
And I can understand. I think that's a really good approach to it as well, because you have no questions. You know right away that the person is in it for you, strictly right. You, with and everything is right here. So you just make your determination right there. But as a woman, you still have to make that determination if you want to be bothered with them, because just because you have certain limitations going on, it doesn't mean that you just accept any and everyone just because you want that companionship either.
Right.
Now, Olivia, I know with you, like you said, your first marriage, when you first was diagnosed with breast cancer, he kind of depleted you. He made, your self-esteem was really low. Was your husband that you're with now the very first person you met after that? You were just that lucky?
Yes, I was. I was just that lucky. And then
and that blessed.
2 years. Yes. And 2 years into our marriage, let me explain. I used to wear a 56 triple F.
Oh.
I am a 32B. I was reconstructed.
Okay.
And when they told him what they had to do, my husband, which is Christopher, he says, do whatever you need to do. This is a prize. And that solidified everything for me right then. And I understood. And he looked at first, I was covering up T-shirts. He says, take it off. I'm not looking at the outside. I'm looking at the inside.
And that's
and
key.
I got, and that was the key to it. And, he's been very supportive. He told me breasts are not what makes a woman. You are the woman. So I felt very comfortable with him. And he got me through my last round of chemo when I had to go through chemo and radiation for the third time. He was there every step of the way. Even though he drives trucks, he would take that time to be there with me. And that was awesome for me. I never had that. So I'm thankful for him for that. And he was the very first man that I met after I divorced.
Well, aren't you just a lucky person here?
So may I ask you a question?
Yes.
How long did it take for you to feel secure about your body again? With this new someone in your life, your husband.
It took me a while until one night he said, please take off the T-shirt. I want to see the woman that I'm married to.
All right.
And that let me know then. And he was more loving at that moment in time to take his hands and place them on me and say, hey, this is immaterial.
Mm-hmm. I know
Your
why
life.
I love him.
Little brother.
No, right? Look, I got a cousin. I have the cousin.
He's got the cousin. But you know, he made me more secure about myself and about my body. And he let me know, you know, I'm here. I'm not going anywhere. I'm not like the other guys. I'm that one. I'm not going anywhere. And we just celebrated our 9th anniversary. We've been together for 12 years.
Wow.
So we've had our ups and downs, but he is the man of the hour.
Well, he's an awesome guy, and thank God. And you know, and I guess that's why Anna created the site that she created, Entwine, because she knows that there are other men out there. You know, it's not always a woman that's going through things. That, like she stated earlier, there are men out there that go through things as well, but they're just not as easy and free flowing as women are. We kind of lay our emotions on our shoulders and our sleeves, and we just kind of are more forthright with them. Whereas men, they kind of like, you know, it demasculizes them when they kind of speak up and put those kind of things out there. You know, you know, a lot of people don't know about me. You know, I also had my own issue I've dealt with before. You know, I had kidney cancer many years ago and never been sick a day in my life. And one day started feeling bad. I went to the hospital and I had a tumor in my left kidney. Never had been sick, but nobody would know though.
Yes.
But I was blessed, you know, thank God I did not have to go through the chemo part of it, but I still did lose my left kidney. And you know what? And when I think with me, and I was married already at the time, and thank God my husband still stayed and supported me. But I think I was more like self-conscious than anyone because I was like, man, I don't have no stretch marks. And now I have this, you know, I worked all these years, you know, to keep those under control. And now here we go. Now I got this big scar, you know, on my side. You know, and I think I down on myself more than anyone. And my husband would be like, honey, you know, he never to this day said anything about it. And that's been 20 something years ago. I was young. So I thank God, you know, I just feel like that's part of who I am, you know. I thank God he gave us two. Right. The other one is doing fine. So
and it really makes you stronger. It really makes you stronger, you know, especially when you go through it with someone, you know?
Yes. And I think we as women, we're more harder on ourselves than anyone else. We're our biggest critics.
We are.
You know, and sometimes we have to let that special someone say, hey, I got you.
And
we have to do that.
I think, too, a lot of it has to do with here in America, of course, they put so much focus and emphasis on body and the way that you look and all of that. And I think that's one of the big things for us. You want to have the perfect body. You want to have the perfect face. You want to have everything perfect, you know. And I think that's one of the reasons why when we do have these hiccups in life, and I call them hiccups because that is exactly what they are. You will get over them. Are. It's all in the mind.
They're hiccups.
You know, it's so difficult for us because, like, a lot of times some men, they'll stay around a little longer. Like with us, we'll stay around with them a long time, you know. Their patience are a little shorter, but, you know.
Right.
That's why I wanted to do this show, kind of go into that, because, you know, like I said, I'm starting a relationship series, and there are different topics I'm going to be covering. And the first one and the most important part of it is the relationship I feel as women or as a man, the relationship you have with yourself, to me, is the most important relationship out of all of them. My husband and I were talking one night, and he was like, honey, what about your relationship? You know, God is the most important thing, you know, person in a relationship. I said, well, I'm talking about the flesh. You know what I'm saying? Of course, I know God is, you know, everyone don't have the same relationship with God, just being honest. And I was actually talking about the relationship that you have with the actual human being, you have to be confident in who you are. And I think the way you feel on the inside, because when people detect insecurity, sometimes they prey on that. What do you think about that, Anna?
It's, yeah. Yeah, I agree with the insecurity thing. It's I feel like there's a lot of individuals out there that would kind of take advantage of your insecurities and just make you just kind of control you in that way.
Mm-hmm.
I
think so too. And that's, yeah. And that's why I always try to kind of like preach that to my daughters and young women that I come in contact with, that you have to love yourself first. And that's in anything, not just a relationship with the opposite sex or same sex, whatever you're, whatever you're into. It's just in your jobs. If you're insecure in your jobs and when you go to work and things you do, you're going to be looked over when it comes to promotions. If you're an entrepreneur, the first thing, a lot of times, as women, we have to prove ourselves, even more than men most of the time. So I think loving yourself is the key to anything. You have to love the person you see in the mirror, and you have to be able to understand that no one is perfect. Even the models you see on TV and online,
right?
They touch up,
right?
Yes.
Yeah.
When you see them, you be like, is that the same person? Wait a minute.
Well, we all have imperfections, but as a woman, sometimes we feel like we have to work a little harder.
Yeah, we do.
To prove ourselves, who we are, until we get to the point in life where, no, none of that matters anymore. Be yourself.
Mm-hmm.
Right.
Right. And sometimes a lot of people don't have that because often certain things that go on in life, and then they're in relationships where sometimes they can, not just women, men too, because it's not always women. Men go through, things have just changed so much, but
yes, it has.
Men go through it as well. If you're in a relationship with someone that's not encouraging you or whatever, that takes a toll on your spirit and the way that you feel. And then like most of us, when you have an illness that you have to deal with, you almost feel, you be feeling great one day, and then the next day you get this news and it's like your world is upside down.
Yes.
And it's like, I know for me, you sometimes feel like you're walking in a cloud, like everything around you is moving fast and your mind is just really trying to get a grip on your new reality.
Catch up.
Yeah, and no one knows what you're dealing with. It's you just kind of pushing through and you're putting the best face out because that's what we have to do. But in your brain, in your mind, even with me,
it's a battle.
It's a battle.
It's a battle.
So
that's exactly what it is. Until you come to that conclusion of accepting who you are, things will change and things will get better.
Yeah. Yeah.
But we have to come to that conclusion, and sometimes it takes a minute.
Yeah, it does. It's different for everyone, because everyone's circumstances are different,
Exactly.
And so there's no right way to do it. But I do know the one thing that you have to do, you have to love the person you see in the mirror. You have to love the reflection looking back at you. Because I always try to tell my girls, most people, well, you all know, Anne doesn't know, I lost my daughter in 2019 due to domestic violence. And it's been a very difficult situation for me to deal with. But I always, I have another daughter, and I always try to encourage my girls to, you have to love yourself first. Number one person is yourself. Because in order for you to love your children, your husband, your friends, your family, you have to be the best you to yourself first.
Correct.
And make sure that is as healthy as it can possibly be. Because
that's not being selfish.
But you have to be selfish sometimes.
Yes, sometimes. You do.
What do you think, Olivia?
But it's not being selfish, because you put you first to help everybody else.
Right.
Sometimes,
Yeah.
You have to be your best you.
Right.
Then you help everybody else. You help your loved ones. You help your friends. You give them advice. You mentor to them.
Mm-hmm. But you have
And
to
that's
be
a
the best
healthy
you.
relationship.
Right. What were you trying to say, Olivia? You were getting ready to say.
Well, you know, I have 4 girls,
Mm-hmm.
and I tell you, I have one that's a little shaky, but I always encourage them. And my husband does the same thing because he's very close with all the girls.
Mm-hmm.
And he always have taught them, if no one else love you, you love yourself first.
Mm-hmm.
You are your number one priority.
Mm-hmm.
And when you love yourself, then you can love someone else.
Mm-hmm.
You can
That's
give
right.
more love.
Mm-hmm.
But you have to put you first before anything. That is the most important thing. And I had to learn that when I was doing my 2nd round of cancer. And because I used to put my own self down.
Mm-hmm.
And my baby sister told me, she says, I want you to do me a favor. And she stood me in front of my mirror. And she says, look at it and look at it good.
Mm-hmm.
Because you have to love you.
Mm-hmm.
I can't love you until you start loving yourself.
Exactly.
And that's what made me realize I got to pick it up and get the moving and keep it going. And I encourage that with all of my daughters, my nieces, even the young ladies that they bring around me. And love yourself.
That's right.
First. That is the most important thing.
And you know what I think too? I often think we often encourage our daughters because, you know, men are naturally strong. You know, they're masculine, they're strong, they carry the weight of all things. But a lot of times men, they need that encouragement, and our boys need that encouragement as well, because oftentimes they carry so much on their shoulders, and they're taught, you better not cry, you know, you need to be strong and you need to be tough. And oftentimes they need that reassurance as well.
Yes.
You know, and they are overlooked. And that's why.
And it's okay to cry.
Yes, it is.
It's okay to cry.
It is.
It's okay to get out your feelings. It's okay to communicate with someone else, you know?
You're right. I think that's another reason why the site that the dating website, the dating app that you created, Anna, Entwine, is a very good site, because I think oftentimes people find themselves falling in a depression because they often feel that they are alone when something like that happens. When any illness comes along, nevertheless, when you're a woman and you have to deal with something as major as you know, you're a young woman, you know, from what I could see, and you have the rest of your life to live. You know what I'm saying? And and we're programmed to do things a certain way, and things are supposed to be straight and narrow. There's no deviation, you know, from the way things are supposed to be, when in actuality, life is always full of bumps and bruises and turns, and that's the reason I came up with my name, KurveUncensored, when life and reality intersects, because oftentimes, and I came up with it after I lost my daughter, because I speak of her as she's still here. That's the only way I could get through it, because otherwise y'all gonna see me on the news somewhere. But I came up with the name because life and reality intersects. Oftentimes we have this big plan on what we want and how we're gonna get there and what we're gonna do, and life happens, and you know, it really happens, and we think that we're prepared for it, and oftentimes we're not. So that's the reason I came up with KurveUncensored, because the life and reality does intersect most times for people. Just like my grandmother would always say, keep living. You know?
Yes.
Keep living, baby. My grandma would say, keep living. As long as you keep living. But I always feel as long as I have breath in my body, there's another day. Some days may be a little slower than others, but eventually you will push through it, you know, whatever happens. And that's and what happened with my daughter, I feel like has made me stronger in the midst of everything that I deal with. It makes me emotional, but it does make me stronger. You know?
It does.
And that's one of the reasons
it gives you the willpower to live. It gives you power to take care of your other grandbabies, your children, help others, and most of all to share with us, you know, because it helps us as well.
Right.
Yes.
And that's
So
why,
you're not
right.
in it by yourself, you know.
Well,
It's
yeah.
a journey.
And that's why I'm sure, Anna, you can probably identify with me. Like, excuse me, you know, it just always makes me emotional. But I'm sure you can probably identify with me with your I keep saying website, but I'm with your app.
Okay.
With your app, does it kind of give you some sort of therapy? You think?
It does, and I think like people are like, "Oh, you're going to get rich off this app." I'm like, I don't want to get rich. Like, I
Well,
won't
you, I
get
mean,
rich.
you do.
I mean, that sounds a little bit.
Hey,
Well,
call me for a trip when you do, girl.
I'm okay, yeah.
Because I can use one over here.
But honestly, what I'm going to get rich off of is the success stories.
Right.
Like I already
right.
had like a couple
Right.
people reach out to me and said, I've been single for 15 years and I thought I lost all hope. I was going to stay single, and then I came across your app, and I'm so excited to meet somebody because of it. And then another person
Wonderful,
said,
good.
he's got
Yes.
some type of ED, and he's like, thank you so much, because I thought that I was, I lost hope. And I follow like erectile dysfunction groups, and I saw somebody say that somebody just committed suicide because of their ED.
Wow.
And they were alone. And and then I thought, I'm like, how many people, especially veterans, a lot of them have dysfunction because of either whether it's Agent Orange or antidepressants, PTSD. And it showed that there's a lot of individuals that have committed suicide. They were seen by their therapist a month prior to, and they said that was the major reason, was because they were very depressed, because they were lonely. And so that's why I want to get this app out as fast as I can, because I want to rescue everybody. That's how I'm gonna be happy about it.
You will rescue a lot of people who did not have a voice, that now they can find someone that will listen, and like you said, not feel sorry, but they can identify. Because when you go through different things, you feel as if you're on an island, like by yourself. Like everybody life seems to be going just groovy, and they planning for the next day, and you just trying to make it the next day. You know what I mean? And they're wanting to travel
the next hour,
the next, and so you're just trying to push through. So if that Entwine, you are going to do well with it, because I can tell you're not in it because of the money, but Lord, thank you. But you're not in it for the money. But they always taught me, when you create something that's going to save people time, money, and people can use, it's always like, because there are a lot of dating apps, but you want to create a better mousetrap. Yours is more niche. It's going to pull a certain audience away that's not going to be, that may want to be on the other site, but for other reasons they cannot. And there are a lot of people that suffer with different issues.
And I actually know a few people on there that personally, and I said, I didn't know you had sexual dysfunction. And they're like, I don't. I just don't care. I'd rather be with a guy that would, I want the emotional attachment, not the physical.
Exactly.
And I was like, no, I didn't expect that. And I even met another guy that said he wanted to just go on there because he's just tired of meeting women. That's all they want, is to have sex all the time. And
he's known the other way around.
Yeah.
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 So he's definitely the odd man out, because most people like, ooh, that's the other way around, So it's definitely going to, in August. So do you feel like it's growing pretty well?
I have like 55 users, I think, now.
That's really good.
That's really good.
I know. I'm trying. Again, it's like the more people, the more success. Thank you very much.
Yeah.
The more people, the better, of course.
Absolutely.
And right now, it's only available in the U.S. But I was just surprised when I put it out into some of the groups that I'm in, and I've had India, Canada, UK, Australia. They're like, when are you going to have this app available in our country? And I was like, oh my gosh, this has to be worldwide.
Oh yeah.
And because there's approximately 300 million men in the world that have ED, and then in the U.S. alone, there's about 30 million.
Wow.
Yeah.
And I know a lot of people a lot of women suffer with endometriosis and things of that nature.
Right.
Just that alone, just those two things alone. But I'm sure your website embodies other situations other than that, just the sexual difficulty.
Doesn't have to be cancer related, because we can have sexual dysfunction from antidepressant medication as a side effect.
Mm-hmm.
And then also individuals with ED for diabetes, or maybe they're on cardiac medication or they have cardiac issues and they can't take a Viagra, or maybe they don't want to do penile injections because it's too painful.
Mm-hmm.
So there's a variety of different conditions, because I had sexual dysfunction prior to getting the breast cancer,
which is what you said.
I had the vaginismus thing where my vagina broke. So it was right. I don't know if your ladies familiar with vaginismus. Have you ever
never heard of it until you mentioned it? What exactly is it again?
It's where the opening of the vagina, the muscles and opening of the vagina involuntarily contract or spasm. And the reason was, over time with endometriosis, I was always having painful intercourse, and then nothing would go in there anymore, not even a tampon. So I was like, something wrong with me. So I went to the doctor. I was like, you have vaginismus. It's because over a period of time, you're under so much pain. So that's your natural reaction for your vaginal muscles to contract. And they said, the therapist said, the way it is somebody would go up to you all the time and punch you in the stomach. Whenever you saw that person, they would just kind of flinch and back up because they were anticipating the pain. So that's so that's the vaginismus, just the involuntary contractions of the opening of the. And there's therapy for it. I started the therapy, and then I found it to be too painful for me. And I just, I felt like I was doing therapy to help for somebody else.
But I wanted to say that. I was going to say that.
So it's a tedious, it's a long process for the dilators. You have to graduate up to larger dilators to stretch the area out. And I'm just like, you know what? I don't want to do this anymore. And, and I wasn't with anybody. I just thought, if I'm going to be single, if I'm going to be, I have to start stretching it out again. And but then I'm like, no, I have to do it for myself, and I don't want to do it.
Right.
But there is definitely a cure for it. So I don't want anybody that does have it, they shouldn't give up. And I wouldn't see myself as giving up, because I'm still open to other forms of intimacy. I just rather not fix my vaginismus.
Well, I mean, hey, and whoever comes along just has to take it or leave it. And at the end of the day, you're going to be fine regardless.
Yes. And love yourself. Just love yourself for who you are.
Love yourself.
And that is the key. Well, I tell you guys, I feel like if I was someone looking at this show, I would definitely be encouraged, because I know, as just being a woman, and I would think, I can't speak for a man, but from a male's perspective, I would assume, when you realize that everyone deals with something at some point in their lives, but understanding that you have to love yourself first before you can be good to anyone or in any relationship. And I think one of the key things, even though I know it's the holidays, and for a lot of people around this time of the year, it's really even though a lot of people are happy, some people are really depressed because they are lonely and they don't have that significant other. And then, like I said, some people are happy, but I would say too, one of the key things is just not keep looking, just don't keep looking for that special someone. Just kind of go about your routine and do the things that you normally do. And like you say, there are websites and different apps and websites that you can go to, and if don't rush the process, is what I'm saying. Just trust the process.
Exactly.
You know what I'm saying? And give it just trust the process, because everything in life, even though we don't like it all the time, at the end of the day, most times it will end up being for our best benefit, and that's my opinion. So, and I'm sticking with that opinion. So anyway, anything else you would like to leave, any information or words of wisdom, Olivia, you would like to leave someone with, if you were going to give them some advice? This is the holidays, and they want to find that special someone, and you would like to encourage them to focus on themselves. What would you say?
First thing, live life the fullest. Live it to the fullest, with or without a relationship. When you live it to the fullest and you live for yourself and you love yourself, it will take you a long ways. Queen Lucy, the new brand is coming out.
Absolutely.
And that was my outlet, comedy. And I'm 57 years old and I am living. I'm living it to the fullest no matter what. Whatever hits me, I'm going to deal with it and keep on pushing.
That's
you
right.
You got to live. You
right.
have to live it to the fullest.
That's right. That's right. Now, what would you like to leave us with, Edna?
I would like to say, if you're one of those people that have been struggling and thinking that you lost hope and you don't deserve to be loved, you do deserve to be loved. And if you have sexual limitations, don't let that stop you. Now you have an opportunity to meet somebody, and there's somebody out there that's feeling the same as you and will understand you and accept you just the way you are. And you don't have to change for anybody. So don't ever change for anyone. Just be yourself.
Now, how would someone find out about your app or, your dating
site?
Go
to my website at entwinedating.com. That's ENTWINE dating.com. And you can download the app from there.
Okay. Thank you. And Miss Brenda, my special guest. This is my best friend. And most times when I go live on the weekend, she's here with me most times. And what advice would you like to leave someone who, may be struggling and trying to become comfortable and find themselves and are just lonely?
And I will say always know who you are from the inside out. Respect yourself and never give up. It's a journey, so keep going. Move on and enjoy life.
Yes.
Very good, girlfriend. Well,
I can tell you that.
Well, I would just like to say, at the end of the day, the most important person is yourself outside of God, is yourself and your family. Make sure that whenever you look in the mirror, you love the reflection that's looking back at you. And at the end of the day, when you've given someone 100% of yourself, you have nothing left to give. They have to accept you for the good, the bad, and the ugly. And that's all I have to say. So thank you all. I appreciate you ladies for stopping by Curve Uncensored today.
Thank you.
My first show in the relationship series. Don't forget to tune in and spread the word. We'll be here it's going to be Saturday or Sunday. I'll post and run ads. But again, thank you for sharing your stories.
Thanks for having us.
All right. Good night.
Thank you. Good night.
Thank you. And y'all ladies have a blessed